So a lot I owed to Kepler was Kepler knew what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And he came to me and he said, listen, come and hit the back netting. And then I got a bit overexcited and I went straight over the nets and there was a bowler running in and it hit him straight in the chest. And they were practicing, everyone turned around and had a look and they are standing. Obviously, I'm not a small frame.
Yeah.
Can I have my ball back, please?
Yeah.
Welcome to The Biggest Man in Cricket with your host, David Brooke.
Welcome, Brett Schultz. Wow, I didn't think I'd ever have the legendary, the absolute character, the absolute cult hero, Brett Schultz in front of me here at Bootlegger. Cheers. We do a little coffee cheers to welcome our guest here on The Biggest Man in Cricket. Brett Schultz.
Thanks, David.
How the hell are you?
Well, that's a question. Yeah, the body's a bit broken. 2 knee replacements, couple of 100 physio trips, but hanging in there. Far removed from cricket, but a lot of memories.
We're gonna talk about those memories because that's what The Biggest Man in Cricket is about, and our viewers and our listeners really want to hear from the legends and hear from the stories back in the day and the nostalgia around that. I mean, just take us through. Let's go to the start. Eastern Cape boy. Born and bred.
Well, can't get more Western Cape than me. Born in East London and school in East London, PE and Grahamstown. So you can take me out of the Eastern Cape, but you can't take the Eastern Cape out of me. So
Love that. And you were at Kingswood. Yeah.
Ended up at Kingswood. Before that, I was at a small co-ed school called Alexandra Road. Oh, it's not that smaller back in the day. But ended up at Kingswood, and that's sort of where my cricket career, my career in sport moved away from rugby to cricket. I was basically bought to go and play rugby for Kingswood.
Yeah.
Not bought. Let's not say that.
Given a bursary.
But and then suddenly it all started happening there. I met a coach called Mark O'Donnell, who eventually also went on to coach EP, but he was the schoolboy coach and sort of arrived at the first nets, and he sort of saw some ability because I was hitting the side netting, and that sort of went from there. Everything just mushroomed.
Was anyone in your family had a sporting background, or like how did you grow up?
Well, the story is my mom beat my dad at badminton, and that's why they got married. So my dad's very sporty. He's still turning 80. He's the oldest teenager I know, but he's a very good squash player.
Does he have better knees than you?
Yeah, a bit slimmer. Yeah, so he's sort of my dad's. His whole life has been a squash player. Played in, I think he's come third in the world and won one of these. So that's where sort of the genes come from. But same, my mom beat my dad at badminton.
Yeah, that's great. And just take us through your the start of your cricket career. Obviously, it was still pretty much relatively amateur at that time.
It was fully amateur. It was pre-apartheid. So I finished in 89. Sort of whilst I was at school, still was be taken down to the nets. Sort of the Colts already. And as I said, it just suddenly cricket. I got selected for SA schools and got five for against Transvaal. And next thing, all the varsities all interested, and went straight from SA schools tour, which was in Cape Town, to Durban to play for the EPB men's side. Got 6 wickets in that game, and then was selected to. Well, I got a phone call on Christmas Day as I've left school from Kepler Wessels, and my stepfather said, "Hey, it's Kepler on the phone," and I had my castle having a beer and a couple of tates and lamb, and I said, it's going to be Kepler Wessels anyway. Kepler, he said, "Come down, we might play you." So
in the EP senior team.
They didn't play me. They played their normal 3 spinners. So So yeah, and then sort of in January I played against Free State, and then yeah, it's got to rack back my brain now, but sort of you come bursting onto the scene, and like all these young players today, I think then it gets a bit tougher because you're another league up. It's not schoolboys jumping around anymore, or club cricketers. Is now, at that stage. What, there were only six sides that played in the top league.
Yeah.
Sort of strength against strength, and you're playing Kirsten and all these names that you'd grown up with. It was a big jump up, and obviously adapted well, but then as I said, the youngsters today, it gets a bit tougher. So, yeah.
But I mean, back in that day, I mean, there was no social media, there was no video footage of you. So, but there must have been talk of like this young tearaway fast bowler, left arm fast bowler with a very distinctive action coming through. And obviously, that EP side was very strong, but that must have been a very tough era to get into, to break into that side.
Yeah, I mean, that team actually won the treble. I came straight into where it already won the Nissan. I then played in the Castle, didn't play the final. And then the team actually went on to beat the Tull for the treble. Yeah, so it was a very strong side, and had a few. I had Rodden Curdy, obviously, bowling, and John Maguire at that stage. So there were two Australians, and obviously coming from Eastern Province, it wasn't exactly a fast man's deck. So it was tough as a quickie to get into the side. But somehow, as I said, it just mushroomed for me. I didn't really think about it at the time. If I think back now, and I go, okay, that happened fast. But I suppose everything about my career was fast, including the length of it.
Yeah, we'll get into the length of it, but when I was doing my looking back on some articles and some stats about you, was you played, I think, 60 first class matches. You didn't play as much of international cricket as I felt you played. Growing up, the legend that was Brett Schultz had such an enigma attached to that name, but I felt like you were a 50 test match player. But you only played that, and we'll get into the reasons for that. But what do you think it was about your career that endeared you to so many young fans who, to this day, I mean, I'm on a couple of those oldie Facebook groups, or back in the day, the Benson Hedges memories and stuff like that, where there's a lot of nostalgia, and those grown men that are sitting as CEOs of companies still mention your name as one of those cult heroes. What do you think made that?
It's a tough question, because I obviously was living it. There wasn't a lot of thought, if I can be honest. There's a lot of thought going into bowling. Everyone says bowlers are dumb, but they're actually not. But I think I just lived. I mean, I had Kepler Wessels first of all, and Kepler knew what he wanted from me. So he was sort of my father of cricket. And we always used to joke that he had one of those chokers around my neck, and every time he wanted some lively action, he'd just send out the to the neck and get me going. But yeah, I mean, I think I had a good. I think that was a lot of it was I lived with my heart in the sleeve. I was full of passion. The badge was the most important thing for me. I went out there. I gave 110%. And I'm hoping that's what people would remember. Obviously, there was good times, bad times, and I think I just lived, and I think South Africans, and we've seen it through our rugby now. When Russell says, "Come on, some Mura," I think I was one of those. If I think about it,
You're ahead of your time.
But on the cricket field, so there was a bit. Yeah, I mean, I would think that's people, you could say characters. It wasn't something that I did. Kepler did teach me, and Kepler, I mean, my first game against Peter Kirsten was where I've heard or learned about
Chirping.
chirp.
Yeah.
And Kepler, I mean, the story goes that Kepler came up to me and ran up to me and said, bounce him and call him an old, see you next Tuesday. I said, hold on, that's Peter Crystal on that side. You know, you've been watching. He says, you will bowl him, tell him that. So anyway, I ran in, bounced him. And I said to him, well, you're old, see you next Tuesday. And he virtually ran after me. And I said to Kepler, now? And obviously I was intimidating. I wasn't going to run away, but I was like, and now? He said, just throw it wide. He came and told me, and I threw it wide, and Peter tried to hit me out of the park and got caught at second slip. So now fuck off, you olds.
That's brilliant. Oh man.
So yeah, I mean, those are the type of things I think that people remember was, you know, I lived, as I said, this ticker more.
You played with your heart on your sleeve. Just let's take a little bit of it before your international career. Just take me through the move from EP to province. Like, how did that happen? What was there a coach involved that wanted you to play?
Can be honest, yeah.
Yeah, please. This is a safe space. We don't have a million.
All the hot girls in province.
You came for the girls in Cape Town.
No. So basically, I mean, I think Kepler and I had come a long way together. I'd sort of reached that. I felt I needed to break away, which is probably in hindsight, probably not the right thing for me. But in my mind as a young, I think that's what's the difference to now is that you don't have a strong team around you. You sort of, you start living that persona that you're this wild and woolly. And I think it was a reckless decision, but obviously province wanted a quick year. They offered good money. And I wanted to move to Cape Town.
Okay.
I'd always loved coming to Cape Town. I had some good friends here. But large part of my career was under Kepler. So I came here later. I played the last 2 or 3 seasons. Which weren't my greatest seasons because there was the injuries, the knees, the et cetera, was the other end of my career that I came to Cape Town. Actually, then I ended up playing a game for Transvaal as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not okay.
A loan game, or was there a loan system in place?
Yeah, no. What happened was I retired for 2 years.
Okay.
And I was playing some club cricket or some social club cricket.
Yeah.
And one of the selectors came down and said, "Listen, you're looking good. Why don't you come to a nets?" And 2 nets in a club game later, I was on the park for Transvaal. Yeah,
And it lasted 1 game.
lasted one over. I'd been practicing off a run of about 10 yards or whatever. And as soon as I got out in the bull ring, that old, as I said, heart in the sleeve, I took my full run and I came down on my knee and basically tried to get through in a couple of overs. I got through 2.5 or 3 overs and then walked off and shook everyone's hand and said, "That's a wrap." I gave it another go. Yeah.
We'll get into your international career, but you know, looking back on it now as you sit here, is there a bit of regret that you wanted a longer career, or do you feel that was what was meant for you?
Listen, I wanted more. Yeah, I mean, it's just playing for my country was a hell of an honor, and that's what I wanted to do. So was that a wrap? No, that was definitely not. It's always what would have been when you get down to stats and how many tests I did play. Actually, at the end of the day, I didn't play that many. 1 day I didn't play, only played 1.
Yeah.
From my first bursting onto the international scene was in Sri Lanka, but yeah, it definitely wasn't enough. And I still have times when I get all melancholic and now I watch the other boys do it. You know what I'm saying? It's a long time ago. I mean, I've retired coming on nearly 30 years ago. I was 26, 27, yeah. So,
but you still bring back that emotion and that feeling that as youngsters growing up. I mean, even just sitting here today, I can't quite believe the trajectory of my life and my career to be able to sit here today. So, I mean, you're in the business world now. Do you get that often where like sometimes you send an email and it's thanks, kind regards, Brett Schultz, and they on the other end, that youngster came to watch you at playing Eastern Province versus Transvaal. Do you sometimes get that still?
There's a good story about that too. Is that at one stage, I mean, obviously, I did a few things when I stopped playing. In Cape Town, I had a clothing shop, a nightclub, and an event business, which was all school fees.
Yeah.
But I went into the financial world after that, and got into the business that I am now. And after about 2 years of telling cricket stories, I said, "Please, can someone buy from me now?" Please. So yeah, I mean, obviously it's helped.
Yeah.
You know, and it is kind of surreal that it was so short of a career, but yet it left a mark. I've got a very close mate, Andrew Hume, who often we talk about, you know, because of what drove you and all those type of things. But it is very strange.
Do you think that the discipline that you learned during your career has played a part in kind of in your business, your mindset?
Definitely. I think there's a lot of fundamentals in sport that if you can bring into life, give you a good base. I think, you know, passion for anything.
You definitely didn't lack passion.
But I think anything in life, if you've got passion for it, you know, it'll come through. Whether it's selling boogie boards on the beach, to say, why do we always remember the guy walking around, lolly to make you jolly, sucker to make you wakker? You know, he was passionate about selling ice cream. So definitely helped. Helped from both sides, but being, sometimes some of the memories aren't always so good. so yeah. Yeah.
Just going to that Sri Lanka tour, we sat with Jimmy Cook in a previous episode, and he said that prior to those test matches starting, you guys had net sessions, but there wasn't like a split time for the Proteas and Sri Lanka. You trained together, and the nets were back to back, and I think it was Kepler or somebody just said to you, just run in a few yards over the no ball, don't worry about that, but just make sure that you hit that back of the net. And one ball apparently went over into the net. Is that just folklore, or is it?
Well, I said to you that's Kepler, and that's why I said so. A lot I owed to Kepler was Kepler knew what I needed to do. And he came to me and he said, "Listen, come and hit the back netting." And then I got a bit overexcited and I went straight over the nets, and there was a bowler running in, and it hit him straight in the chest. And they were practicing, everyone turned around and had a look, and they are standing. Obviously, I'm not a small frame. Can I have my ball back, please? So, yeah.
And they knew what they were in for in a couple of days' time.
Yeah, well, I don't think, I mean, I was relatively unknown. I think they were all gearing up Alan Donald and, I mean, bowling from the other end in the 80s, just something really special. That's a proper goat.
That's a proper intimidating attack if you're a Sri Lankan opening batter. I think Jayasuriya, I read an article of him saying, like, he hadn't faced anything of the likes, and apparently he wanted to get Chaminda Vas to come and bowl at him in the nets just so he could face a left arm quick at the time. And I mean,
he was batting 6 or 7 at the time.
Yeah, he wasn't an opener.
He wasn't the opener. Yeah. He started opening later, but I mean, he certainly, when we bowled him out in the second test, he came out and he bashed 30 or 40. I can't remember, but he was one of the highest scorers.
Who were some of the guys that in that Sri Lanka team besides for Jayasuriya that you were bowling? Can you remember, or do you just remember the?
Well, obviously you remember the two giants that Ranatunga and De Silva. I mean, they were at the time. I mean. And it's now I see Dharmasena, he's an umpire. He's an umpire. And obviously you had Murray, who was ripping them sideways. So that was net. It was I think it was in the second test when I double stepped down to him and got one of my few fours in test cricket. Probably the only 4, I think. And raised my back to the change room and it went down. So yeah, I mean, I probably could go through the side. There's a Hatra Singh, which was quite funny because myself and Eddie got invited to the opening batters' house for dinner at their families.
Before
the
or
two
after
opening
the
batters,
test
no, during
the test match. Wow.
I don't know if they're trying to soften us up. Well, we got invited for dinner. It was probably between tests.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see that happening today.
No.
Oh, wow.
It was really unlikely, you know?
Yeah.
The guys are a lot more professional today.
Yeah.
We
Talking about the professionalism, do you think that, I mean, your knee injuries, etc., are well known, but do you think that with the modern day medical knowledge and the amount of medical personnel in the management team of the test team, for example, and with all that knowledge, do you think that your injuries might have been a lot better in this era playing?
definitely. I think, first of all, they probably asked me to lose a couple of kilos. Because I think the lightest I was 96 when I came back from Sri Lanka, but I was always 98, 102. Sometimes, I think, yeah. So they also would have monitored the amount of balls because I bowled a lot over. As I said, that passion also worked against me. Is that when I had the ball in my hand, it was very difficult to take it out. And Kepler liked that. And I think even in the first test, we picked two spinners, Simo and Eckers, and they're both their first overs went for 12. And Adi and I looked at each other and we said, it's going to be a long day. So I think I bowled 37 or 36 overs in the first innings.
Yeah.
I just love bowling. So there definitely would have been a bit of cotton wool put around, and probably I think look what they do with the bowlers now. If they're big guys, they rest them and they monitor and they make sure that they actually are eating the right stuff and training correctly. I just wanted to push everything.
You were.
There's no etiquette.
Yeah, there was no half measures.
No half measures. It was flat out Schulz, not breaks per se. Having under.
Just take me through the kind of the conversations that Kepler. Obviously, Kepler was a big part of your career and your mentorship. But take me through that. It was a tough series for bowlers going into Sri Lanka. We hadn't played a lot. We hadn't played any international cricket really in Sri Lanka. Take me through like what he needed from you as a captain, and as you said, AD was the focus was on him, but you were this young tearaway.
Well, I can start with the phone call. I mean, obviously I got selected after the India series, and I'd already pulled a hamstring in the first test, and sort of didn't bowl that well in the second test. As I said, as you got up those levels, it's a big jump, and then Test cricket's another big jump. So I got the phone call from Kepler just before, and they were selecting the side, and he said, "I've got you selected. Don't let me down." That was it.
No pressure.
No pressure. That sort of
Kepler's Wessels are depending on you. Yeah.
That sort of set the scene, and so I enthused. And then we went to Durban, and I think that's where it all started. Is that they came to us, they spoke to us about reverse swing. We didn't think that, we took two spinners. We thought we were going to play two spinners, which we did do in the first test. So it was really about, what are we going to get out of the wickets with regard to later on in the game. We didn't think we'd have that strike, that strike.
Who was the coach at the time?
It was Procky.
Mike Proctor, yeah.
Yeah, Procky. Mike Proctor. So yeah, he was the coach. But I think Kepler, both the captains I played under were very strong leaders. So even under Bob with Hansi, they were like front and center. I can't really recall other than in Durban and them actually taking bottle tops to the balls. Let us getting used to that.
Just to prepare
for the swing. I think we were very fortunate being so wet behind the ears in Test cricket, then having Kepler, who had already played Test cricket.
Yeah.
He had been there. We got there. He said, "No, don't eat that." First day we arrived there at one of the grounds at Gaul, I think, and we were playing a pickup side, a B side, a Sri Lankan B side. There was big prawns. Listen, everyone was about to dive into it, and Kepler was no, none of you are eating that. It was like, because our stomachs and all that type of stuff. Yeah, and I mean, I think Kepler just kept. I think his intensity was he just kept it up. Like, you know, if you look at Alan Donald, it didn't work for him. He actually performed a hell of a lot better, and the Hansi then Kepler was very.
Yeah.
We used to call it the teapot. And throws the cap. So it's just like.
But you felt that pressure. I mean, he put a lot of faith in you, so you felt like you needed to deliver for him.
Yeah, I think everybody talks about sportsmen and about what drives them, and I think a lot of them, if they're honest with themselves, a lot of them is fear. Fear is a big and I say that not like you are shit scared, but you got to have some sort of fear based to push through those levels. When you, I think, that's basically.
But fear drove you to succeed.
Yes.
In your case.
Yeah, 100%. In my case, it's like where you come from, and I was a rugby player, and cricket was a secondary sport, and in life, growing up, and I think that little guy inside of you just wants. The fear of not succeeding was higher than the will to succeed. And that's sort of, if I'm honest, and as I said, I talk with Andrew about it quite often, mate of mine, and like, what drove you then? Because you don't want that to drive you today. So as I said, those life lessons, and you keep questioning yourself, and those guys that get into business after although the cricketers these days don't need to get into business, but those life lessons, parallels, some of them don't quite connect. Today you don't want to be driven by fear because you make very irrational
100%.
Decisions.
Especially if you're in the financial world.
Exactly.
You don't want to be driven by fear, putting that fear onto your clients.
Exactly. Well, I sell risks, so we
we
do sell fear.
Transitioned in a way that makes it work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Just briefly, I've always been fascinated about the kind of the emotional kind of roller coaster of that post isolation era, of being a player in that era, and how it was perceived from the inside, not from the outside, as me as a fan of cricket. How was that it was obviously different for players like Jimmy Cook, Clive Rice and stuff who were at the end of their careers, but you were pretty much at the start of yours. Like, how was that behind the scenes?
So I think I brought the average age of the first test team to play on South African soil down quite a bit. So I think first of all for me, I hadn't been exposed to sport at that sort of level, so it was all roller coaster. But we as South Africans were also a bit blinkered with what was going on. So when it all came together for us, we didn't see it as it was just the next stepping stone. And I happened to be on those stepping stones as they happened. We came into cricket like we hadn't left it. But unfortunately, we were only a good number 2 because the Aussies were so strong at the time.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a massively. I think it was a highly emotional thing watching Mandela and all those type of things that happened, and the changes in South Africa and leading to '94, and then the Rugby World Cup. I'm saying, with that first Rugby World Cup, which I think that highlighted it more for us.
Yeah.
Then actually, we sort of like squeezed into the sort of, and then the World Cup you actually saw. Francois Pina saying, 45 million?
No pressure.
45 million supporting him. And I'm saying, so I think that opened up, and it also opened up at that stage the professional era, because we were just playing. We didn't know we were amateur professionals, and then after they won the World Cup, they obviously went against Louis Late, and we followed. The professional era then started. So I was even working at that stage. I had another job.
What were you working?
I was in the finance, so I got into it. Then a friend of mine who's now in America, Sean Campbell, is he got me into it.
Okay.
And I think the professional era only started after that World Cup, where we got proper contracts, and shared in the revenue. And Tony Irish came in, I think, that stage, the Players Cricket Association. And then they kicked into, sharing in the revenue. That was the right. And also then made you accountable for your behavior.
Yeah.
Whereas before, behavior wasn't something.
Discipline.
Discipline, you know what I'm saying? On and off the field. On the field is what goes on the field, obviously stays on the field. And you did what you could get away with. No. Yeah, it's my brother says now he's actually on the international. Stephen Harris is on the international umpires. I said to him, do you think with this new DRS I would get more wickets or less wickets? Because he said, he stands there, he says, no, you just wouldn't play.
Man, you say your brother or your brother-in-law?
No, it's my half-brother, Stephen Harris.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's an absolutely great guy.
Yes.
He's umpired obviously in international. He's been umpiring. He went to the 100 last year with the SA20 umpire.
Yeah, I was at his first one in Durban. The 2020 there.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we're waiting for his Lords, and that's where all the brothers are going to go across to Lords.
Oh, that'll be
see him. Wow. So he's stepping up there.
That's awesome.
Very proud of him.
Absolutely, he can be very proud of him. So cricket's obviously in the family. Just take me, do you watch T20 cricket? Do you watch? I mean, we saw each other in London at Lords there for the World Test Championship final. So you obviously still follow the game, which is incredible to see.
Yeah, I don't follow as much. The quality of cricket dipped for quite some time, and we all know, and we were speaking about it earlier, that the Betway 20s sort of revived it. And I think now what's happened with the longer format and winning the Test Championship has revived it even further. But cricket was dead for a long time, and I didn't follow a lot. Now I just follow. I don't know who's who, and I don't know what team. And I'm saying, you watch the RPL and you watch the Betway 20, but I'm not one of those guys that actually follows who's. I mean, there's that story when Kagiso Rabada got selected, and they phoned me, the newspaper, and said, Kagiso Rabada's been. What do you think? And I thought, in my mind, there was a right-hand bowler was Kagiso, and Rabada was a left-hand bowler. So I was talking about two people. And the article came out on the Sunday Times, and it was one person. I was like, oh dear. Okay.
Maybe not answered.
Yeah. So not as closely connected, but still enjoyed it. I mean, as a test cricket for me is the ultimate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's truly where cricket lies. I mean, that's the chess game. That's the game that you work out. This Cowboys don't cry stuff. Nice paycheck, good for the crowds, but it's not cricket in my mind.
God, fair enough. You come from that era where it was like you earned your stripes in red ball cricket, but you played white ball cricket. But did you was red ball cricket always the first love? Yeah,
I mean, I think knocking blocks off is a lot that happens a lot more in the red ball. I enjoyed the white ball. It swung like hell. But I think we played Benson Hedges, and back those days, these guys now are only seeing what it's like to play in front of full crowds. And when we played, there was always full crowds. I mean, the Eastern Province crowd was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm saying the Western Province crowd was amazing. Full grounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to go watch Stephen again, and umpiring when you go watch the umpire. And it was free entry to one day cup game, and now there must have been 20 people in the ground.
Yeah.
And it was free.
Yeah. Never happened in your era.
Never.
It was obviously before the Proteas as a brand was strong, etc. But domestic cricket that's where we learned, that's where we loved, that's where I became a fan of Western Province cricket. That's where you, growing up, you became a fan of Eastern Province cricket. That was what was the thing that day.
Yeah, and as I said, there was strength versus strength, even in the shorter format. That Impalas was a combination of the.
I remember that. Yeah,
Free State was in there. All the Border was in there. All the smaller sides were all put into one side. There were six sides, so it was really, really strong cricket, and that's, I think, why we as we slipped back into international cricket, is that we had really had. I mean, look at the talent that we had.
Yeah, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
The talent. Do you look at some of the talent? Like, your opinion on fast bowlers these days? They're very well managed. I mean, back in your day, this England-India Test series where Bumrah's getting managed. He's saying out of a 5-match series, he's only going to play 3, and they announce that up front. That would never have happened in your day, right?
Definitely not. Definitely not. First of all, there would have been a revolt from the players, because you just wanted to play.
Yeah.
But I think, as we said, it's become such a professional game now, and it's all about the longevity and getting the best out of you and best out of the team. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at all these now. I mean, look at Rusty's with these rugby players, and he's got a squad of 75 or something. Which is, I think there's only 75 professional rugby players in Ireland. Yeah. And it's saying we've got a squad of that side. So I mean, the cricket is. I mean, they've got a nice talent, and look at the talent coming through now. Now that Shukri has done an incredible job.
Yeah.
And bringing him playing, he's good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Picking up
and picking people. I mean, that's in the Test Championship. What's his name? That got the 2 wickets. Lungi. We didn't think.
Yeah.
But then, you know what I'm saying, there's a whole story behind that, apparently, that we got selected. And he's done an incredible job with the talent managing it. So, yeah.
Just some of the fast bowlers that you look at international cricket, maybe like, especially left armers, Mitchell Starc, like those kind of guys. Do you look at them and go, like, kudos to you, you've had a hell of a career?
I saw yesterday that he's only his second player to play 100 tests for Australia, if I'm correct.
Maybe second fast bowler.
Bowler.
Yeah,
or something, or some stat, but to make 100 tests. And obviously, he's one of the guys that's bowled over 160 Ks. Obviously, back in my day, was Wasim Akram, you know what I'm saying? And now the modern day guys, I don't know whether I could play this modern day. I wasn't actually. I did look. I mean, with Kepler, you had no choice.
He was a machine, that guy.
Yeah, no, listen. Yeah, we were trained. I didn't mind the fitness part. It wasn't my first go to. I'd rather just bowl, but I didn't mind the fitness part. Yeah.
We have to talk about the action, and it was such a distinctive action. There was. We were kids growing up, whether you were left or right arm bowler. If you were left arm bowler, if you're right arm bowler, you mimic Fani de Villiers' action. If you were left arm, you'd mimic Brett Schultz's. Where did that come from? Did you learn it? Where did you learn it from?
As I said, cricket never, I was a wicket keeper until under 15.
Oh, wow.
So I played at a 15B wicket keeper, and one day wasn't happy. I was the captain of 15B and went bowled and got 7 for, and then never looked back. But the ball just hit the side netting.
Yeah.
So the action is something that's it was just there. It was a natural thing. And
would you watch who would you have watched growing up like that? You would.
As I said, I wasn't a big follower of the growing up, so it wasn't someone like I mimicked it. We play in the backyard with my brothers or whatever. It was really just a natural thing, and that love being big was something that came. And I think the refinement, came in a very short period. Like suddenly from in my matric year to my post-matric year to playing for South Africa, it was from hitting side netting to bowling, you know what I'm saying, bowling big in swingers. Because when I arrived at the nets and I'm holding the ball cross seam, and Kepler says, "Why are you holding the ball cross seam?" I said, "Well, it swings too much, sir." Say, "God, pardon?" I said, "Show me." So, and the ball just swung, and it was like, it wasn't something that I'd been working with.
Yeah,
it was a natural thing.
Yeah,
I always say fast bowlers are born; they aren't bred. True fast bowlers.
Yeah.
So very lucky in that way. But body's taken a bit of strain, obviously.
Just like your kind of your character back in the day, I think if the demerit system was in play back in the day, you might have been in a little bit of trouble. But it seems to us as in this modern day that those characters are lacking from the game. It's been like almost forced out of the game by legal, by stump mics, all of those kind of things. Like the bear character, your nickname was the bear, obviously aggressive, in your face. Do we lack those kind of characters now, or do you miss those kind of characters from the game?
I mean, you look at Dale Steyn and those crazy eyes. And, you know, and you definitely miss those type of characters because it gives the game excitement. Now, there's such a fine line because there's the brand of cricket and then there's cricket. You know what I'm saying? The brand is one thing, and I understand why they put in those rules, but I feel it's gone too far. Because you literally, speaking to my brother firsthand, is that you can't do anything. You know, I mean, I remember saying things to like Shep, and he's saying, "No, it's enough from you, Sammy," and that was it. You know, and I remember saying other things which were completely offsides, but I was always the first guy to go and have a beer with the umpires afterwards and say sorry. So, so what carried on in the field. But yeah, I think it's taken something from the game. Because fast bowling brings that excitement.
Yeah.
You know, only rails of spinner, I suppose there's a few, but I mean, Shane Warne brought that same sort of excitement. But what did that come with?
Yeah.
Came with a big mouth and a big, talking, big ego.
Yeah.
But I'm saying all of us are probably also driven by fear, I promise you. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it certainly does because it makes it exciting. Yeah.
I read somewhere that Sachin Tendulkar in his book actually referenced you as one of the fastest bowlers he has ever faced. I mean, that's got to be quite cool to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about that. I don't know if it's fact or not, but
we'll take it as fact.
Take it as fact.
Everything there is fact.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, he was just starting then. But it's to hear something like that it gives you pride. But you know, as again, what could have been or never was. So that's the sort of the things that I'm missing. I get quite shy sometimes talking about it. As I said, I don't normally do these podcasts.
I remember when I first approached you. So you said to me, "Well," I said, "Brett, I'd love to have you on the podcast." And you said to me, "Why?" I said, "Because you're a legend." And you said, "But will people want to hear from you?" I'm like, "Of course. You know, you are a legend, and it doesn't." And one of the things that I made about this podcast, it's not about the stats. It's not about the, you know, if you only got 100 test matches, then I'll want to have you on the show. It's the legend of the game that, regardless of stats and figures, I want to interview. I want to hear the stories, because the stories are what everyone wants to hear about, right?
Yeah, well, thanks very much again. It's I certainly left it all out there, and for me, that's, you know, I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
And to recognize that I get a bit, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So, just finishing off, we've got a little quickfire section here called the declaration. There's probably not many times that the captain would have called you out and declared, but and you were probably very willing to go into bowl. Quickfire questions, not one word answers, but just kind of quickfire question. First thing that comes to your mind.
Oh dear.
The PC version, maybe not. Okay. One current fast bowler you'd love to have bowled in tandem with, current player.
Jayasuriya, no doubt.
That would have made a hell of a combination. One cricketer who you just loved bowling to because you knew you had his number.
There was Lawrence Seif when I first started, and they used to tease him. But I mean, that was sort of my first wickets that I remember. I used to enjoy bowling to Lawrence, with Terence on the Zard on the other side, and I used to enjoy bowling to Terence. But didn't get him out that much, but enjoyed bowling to him.
He's in Cape Town still, I think. You probably see him around.
Yeah, I think he's living in London now, living in Fire.
Yeah. One item that you never travel without, maybe in your career and maybe now. One item. Besides for your passport.
Travel without my headphones. Those quite
because
of the noise, not because I like music.
What kind of separate question? What kind of music does Brett Schultz listen to?
Just not heavy rock. I'm a very broad. I enjoy a bit of soft house through to Elton John. So yeah, I'm very broad.
That's a very broad spectrum. Okay, the biggest character in the dressing room during your career, teammate, the biggest character that you played with?
Sure, I was Mary Pringle. He was a hell of a character.
Yeah.
And funny enough, people don't think about Brian Mack.
Really?
Big Mac was a hell of a character.
Yeah.
I mean, that story that he did to the Aussies. I don't
Gentle
know.
giant, but like very much a character.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good one for you. If social media had been around during your playing days, would you have been in trouble?
I would have been banned. I think the brain was quicker. Well, the mouth was quicker than the brain, so obviously the fingers would have typed it. So definitely not my thing.
Still to this day, you're not on social media really. But on Instagram, maybe.
Just a bit of paging. Like I think not a big social media person.
Okay, then the final question. If there was one cricketer from your era who would be a 10 million rand buy in the SA20 auction, who would that be? From your era?
Jeez, Alan Donald was. I mean, as I got to back the boaters. Yeah, so they don't.
So Alan Donald would have been your thing. Listen, Brett, it's been absolutely brilliant having you on here. It's thank you very much for making the time. Our friends from Bootlegger just want to give you a bit of coffee to keep you all fired up. It's been wonderful catching up. I hope you've enjoyed telling your stories. I've enjoyed listening to them and getting them out of you. And I'm sure our viewers and our listeners are really going to enjoy this episode. So, Brett Schultz, thank you for being on the biggest man in cricket. Your time is very much appreciated. Thanks, legend.
Thanks very much, Matt. Yeah, thank you.